I will call the, today's date is the 19th, I'm sorry. I will call the December 19th meeting of the Ag and Rural Committee to order. And approval of the minutes, November 21st, 2023.
So moved.
Is there a second, please?
Second.
That motion made in second. Could all those in favor signify by saying aye?
Aye.
Opposed, the like sign. Ayes have it. Carries. Public appearances for non-agenda items. I see the two gentlemen that are here are for the agenda items, so we'll move to agenda review. Deanna.
There are no changes to the agenda this evening.
Where's your microphone?
There are no changes to the agenda this evening.
Thank you, Deanna. Number 5, agenda item, certified survey map CS 2590-23, request by Gary Gorman, agent for Gary Gorman Legacy Trust, to approve a certified survey map to allow a subdivision of 1 agricultural tract into 2 agricultural parcels on the property located off Kane Road. Deanna.
Would you like me to do the staff memo?
Yeah, please.
Okay. So the parcel is zoned exclusive agriculture, and it's currently right about just slightly over 70 acres. Staff does not identified any issues with the future land use map in the comprehensive plan. The property is currently located on Outlot 1 of CSM 14046. The proposal divides the existing agricultural tract into 2 agricultural tracts, both retaining the AX zoning. Each parcel will conform to the required size of a minimum of 35 acres under AX zoning. The applicants have also stated their intention to build a new farm residence on the proposed southern parcel by using the permitted use as specified in section 22-482 of chapter 22 of the zoning code. And what that reads, what that section of the code reads, is that a new farm residence that is the only residence on the farm and is occupied by an individual who earns more than 50% of his or her gross income on the farm, subject to the provisions of chapter 24, which is the land division chapter. And then I have just added for your reference how state code actually defines a farm in reference here. And state code defines a farm as land under common ownership that is primarily devoted to agricultural use. So as proposed under the CSM, a rural residential development criteria claim is not required. This property is the remainder of base farm 59. There are 2 previously claims that were used for lots 1 and 2 of the CSM. They were improved in 2018. The northern parcel, as all AX zoning, will retain the same rights as the southern parcel. Staff suggested that the northern parcel be designated as an outlot, but the applicant stated that that was not in their interest. And staff does recommend approval with a total of 10 conditions.
What are the conditions? Excuse me, what are the conditions, Deanna?
I certainly can read those. Number 1, no other permit is approved or waived or deemed satisfied except for the approval provided herein. All outstanding fees or assessments must be paid prior to the city signing the CSM. Concurrence from utilities, gas, electric, cable, phone shall be provided, stating that the utility easements are sufficient for their service as shown on the CSM, not plat, prior to the city signing the CSM. An email or letter of affidavit or letter from the utilities is sufficient. An affidavit of record shall be recorded transferring the remaining rural cluster claim from base farm 59 to one of the proposed farms, one of the proposed lots, with the recording of the CSM. An affidavit shall be recorded stating that the farm residence is the only residence on the farm and is occupied by an individual who earns more than 50% of his or her gross income on the farm, subject to the provisions of the City of Fitchburg's Chapter 24 Land Division Ordinance. No new primary structures may be constructed within the bounds of the proposed CSM, except in compliance with the zoning provisions described in Section 22-482 of the City Zonings Code. Well and septic facilities are required to be approved by the DNR and Dane County, respectively, and proof of approval is required before obtaining a building permit. The applicant shall comply with all driveway standards and obtain approval from the fire department. Additional information regarding the types, sizes, and trees to be removed, if any, may be required. The city forester will determine if a forestry management plan is required. If needed, the forestry management plan shall be provided prior to issuance of a building permit. Park fees in lieu of dedication and park improvement fees are due prior to a building permit.
Thank you very much, Deanna. Do the applicants have any Gary? Yep. Please state your name and address, please.
Gary Gorman, 5451 Wayland Road, Fitchburg. So we're in front of you today because my son, who's sitting behind me, Adam, and his wife and his little girl have moved back from Colorado, and they would like to build a house on the family farm. So the original component of which was homesteaded by my great-great-grandfather in 1852. So Adam has a long and close connection to that land. We very much appreciate the need to maintain the agricultural nature of the area. We've been doing that for many, many years. And so when you see the handout that Adam passed out earlier, statement of intent is in front, the reason that we're seeking your recommendation. But the second map just orients you in terms of where we are. We're adjacent to Kane Road. And just the parcel that Adam wants to build on is just to the west of Kane Road. And the second map that you'll see indicates where the house would be built. And you can see it is not dropped in the middle of the field. There's a small clearing in the woods that's off the road. And so that's where they intend to build so as to preserve as much of the tilled farmland as possible. So that's our intent. We would certainly appreciate your recommendation to the Plan Commission, and I'm available to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Gary. I'll open it up to the committee. Anybody have any questions or comments or concerns?
Deanna, did you say that this property does not have a building right, and transferring a cluster building right to this property is what it would take to build here? No?
Yes, you are correct. There are no claims available on this particular parcel. I apologize, I'm flying through here. There were two claims. They were used for Lot 1 and Lot 2, approximately 2018. So to conform to the rural residential development criteria, that would require a transfer of a claim from another site.
Is there hardship for the Gormans in converting a cluster building right into actually building a house? Has that been done successfully in Fitchburg?
No. I can take that one too. So the cluster development claim, there is one remaining. Oh my gosh. Cluster development claim, and those need to be used under a very specific section of our zoning code that lays out a smaller subdivision of a rural cluster. So it takes several claims, 5 or 6 on a larger parcel, and in order to use one. So they are not able to use one of those rural residential cluster claims on this property.
I just have a comment. I'm just really excited to see another young person like myself wanting to return to Fitchburg and build a house and maintain farmland, but you gotta have a place to live too, right? You can't oversee that from Colorado. So I'm just excited to see someone like myself that's interested in being in Fitchburg and farming and living. So hopefully this works, Adam.
Any other questions or?
So what you're saying is they have to go and look to buy a claim?
Mm-mm.
No?
Under this particular situation, what is being proposed is that they would fall under a section of the code, of our zoning code, that allows for a new farm residence on a parcel that is zoned AX. And in this case, what they're doing is creating 2 lots out of a larger parcel zoned AX. And under our current zoning, they're using this section of the code that would say that they can create a new farm residence. So they would not need to use a rural residential development criteria claim.
That answers my question. I appreciate that because, I was also concerned if it was going to be a burden for them to have to go and search for a claim.
No, that they will not. And because there's both pieces are conforming after they're split. If you can't make a piece non-conforming, but both pieces are conforming, so this fits nicely for that.
Well, and also isn't that a requirement that they earn over 50% income in an ag business?
Yeah, from the land. Yep.
Correct.
And that's
I just wanted to hear that for clarification.
right. No, that's the intention. That's the intention.
It's my understanding, like just in layman's terms, that you can put a house on a farmstead. Like you can, if you've got some farmland that you have there, you have a chunk, in this case 35 acres, you can put a house on it.
Any other? Roger?
I take it, Adam, you're going to be involved with the farm? Are you the one that's going to be earning the 50% income?
That would be my wife.
Okay. Another question I have is, we have the rural residential criteria, and it was mentioned. Why did you not apply for rural residential criteria in this case?
My understanding is that would have required us complying with the claims mechanism, which we did not.
In other words, you couldn't find it. Are you talking about the 35-acre split?
No. We certainly have 35 acres.
Yeah.
But as Deanne mentioned previously, when Francesca Kane was selling this property, she used both claims that the property was entitled to carve off smaller pieces to sell to other people. And I did not buy those smaller pieces. Somebody else did.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's the 2 houses that have been put up in the last year or 2.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I'm glad to see you coming to Fitchburg, no question about it. I'm right along with that thought. I think we as a committee, and I'm taking a sidebar here, we need to look at this 50% income thing. I think there's a loophole here. It's not to be discussed now, but I just bring it up at this point that we should maybe look at it down the road.
We'll refer that to,
We will,
to
down the road.
another meeting.
Another meeting. But I applaud you coming to Fitchburg. You're certainly going to be coming to an exciting city. So,
Any other committee have any other questions or concerns?
I guess I just don't get it. The property had 2 building rights. Francesca sold those building rights, sold
correct.
this property then as a non-buildable parcel, having no building rights left. But now there's a building right?
No, Adam. The way that works is you can create a farmstead of 35 acres, and that is outside of the building site. But you have to have, you can't make a, by taking that parcel, the 35 acres, you can't make, if there were only 30 acres left of the other piece, you couldn't do it. You can't make a piece non-conforming.
So you have to have a minimum, you have to have a minimum of 35 acres and be zoned AX to
Right.
do a farm
And
stead.
and they've got it.
And the piece that you remove it from has to be conforming.
Right.
And in this case, it is.
It is.
Okay, so it takes 70 acres to do that.
70 point-
And then you
or
can split the
71
two and you have 2
Exactly.
buildable farmsteads.
Yes, you do.
Technically.
I understand.
Yep.
Well, isn't that all dictated in chapter 24? What you referred us to? And
Yep,
In
chapter
section
22, chapter 22 talks about this new farm residence or farmstead. And then it refers back to the land division ordinance, which is chapter 24.
Okay. Okay, any other? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion.
I thought she was turning her mic on. She's ready.
Okay, all right. Yeah, could we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, a like sign. The ayes have it. The motion is passed.
Thank you very
Gary.
much.
Thank you, Adam. You'll be at the Plan Commission later on. And this referral will then go to the Plan Commission.
Sounds good, thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Yeah, report from the department. Deanna, do you have anything for us?
Yes, I do. Good evening, everyone. The chair asked me to check in on the updates to the well ordinance. You all have requested that city staff take a look at the well ordinance, and so that we could make some modifications to allow farms to replace a well or redo an existing well. That is in the works. We won't be able to bring something back to you until next year, of course, but staff is working on that.
Thank you very much. Next year is not far away.
It is not, sir. And then I would also like to provide an update on the neighborhood plans. You all might be aware that earlier in December, we had a very well-attended open house. Staff was very pleased about how many people showed up and brought their ideas and questions and comments. So we're still in kind of our fact-finding stage. We've been meeting with different stakeholders, the landowners. Today we sat down and met with the 2 school districts, Oregon and Verona, to kind of understand their long-range plans. So we're in this kind of fact-finding stage yet before we're actually putting some pencil to paper. We welcome anyone's ideas and comments and suggestions, including this body. When we have something a little bit more meaty to show, I'll definitely bring when we have some designs on paper and some thoughts that are starting to firm up, I'll come back with those for you all. I do want to let you know there is open to the public and certainly welcome for you all too, a visioning session on January 4, so the first week of January, and this is specifically for Greenfield. We're doing this special for Greenfield just because of the complexity of the project and the numbers of stakeholders. So we will be holding a visioning session. Anyone who's interested, anybody from the public, including you all, are certainly invited to go through some visioning exercises so that we can kind of have a better understanding of what the community wants to see in Greenfield. January 4, here at City Hall. Not sure if it might be in the community center. I'll get out information for you, but at 5:30. And then the only other thing I want to say is happy holidays.
Thank you, Deanna. The Greenfield meeting was quite well attended. It was the Greenfield and the Stoner Prairie. And they thanks to Deanna, they split and moved the Stoner Prairie down the hall. That was a smaller group, and so it gave a little more room in here because the room was pretty full. So we had a good attendance. Did the staff give you any idea how long that would be before that comes back, the water?
I don't have a date at this time. I'll have to get back to you on that.
Okay, cool. So when it does, we'll put it on the agenda.
We certainly will.
Okay. Anything? The committee have any other? Adam?
After the vote on that, can we talk about it sometime? I think you have a valid point with what happens when somebody isn't earning 50% of their income from the farmstead. Or if they just said, yes, we're making 50% of our income. Gary Gorman is not making 50% of his income from the farm. Adam might, his son might, they very well, or his daughter-in-law might. That very well may be true, but how many times is that abused? And what repercussions are there for that?
Have we ever done this before?
Yes.
Years ago.
Years ago, many times.
100 years ago.
Before my
Not
I was
quite.
not alive.
I guess I'm wondering if it's even a valid thing to ask if it's never enforced or sought, or do we do that?
I think
It's not on the agenda for discussion, but we can certainly bring that, and that should be brought as an agenda item. And if the committee so desires that, we can certainly do that.
That's what I'm saying, is can we make that an agenda item for some future?
Yeah. It's, okay. Any other business to come before the committee?
Not from the department.
Okay. Seeing none, I'll recommend a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Made and seconded?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you very much.